All right. You're not going to believe this BlackRock, the investment giant. They're diving headfirst into DeFi.
Yeah.
We're talking billions of dollars, potentially billions of dollars of real-world assets finding their way into crypto.
It really is a huge shift if you think about it. Just a few years ago, traditional institutions were pretty skeptical about crypto, but things are changing.
Yeah, definitely. And for those who might not be familiar with DeFi, decentralized finance, it's all about using blockchain technology to create financial applications, cutting out the middleman like banks and letting people access financial services more directly.
Right. And when we talk about real world assets, we're talking things like stocks, bonds, real estate, assets that have value outside of the digital world.
Right.
So this move by BlackRock is essentially bringing these traditional assets onto the blockchain, bridging these two worlds.
Exactly. And that's where Elixir comes in. They're partnering with BlackRock and Securitize to make this happen.
Exactly. BlackRock has this fund called BUIDL. It invests in U.S. short-term treasury bonds. They're using Securitize's technology to create tokens called SBUIDL tokens that represent shares of this fund.
Okay.
What's really interesting is that BlackRock specifically chose to partner with Elixir, and their team is composed of veterans from traditional finance institutions like Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley.
Wow.
So this really speaks to the credibility of Elixir and what they're building.
So we've got BlackRock with their BUIDL fund, Securitize handling the tokenization, and Elixir providing the DeFi infrastructure.
Yeah.
But how does this dual track system they've created actually work?
Well, it's a pretty clever system, actually. It balances the security of traditional finance with the innovation of DeFi.
Okay.
Think of it as two layers.
Okay.
The first layer is a permission environment managed by Securitize, where the tokenization happens, and this ensures everything complies with regulations. This is crucial for institutions. It's like a digital vault for these assets.
Okay, I get the vault analogy. So what about the second layer? What happens there?
So the second layer, this is where things get really interesting, and this is managed by Elixir. It's the permissionless DeFi environment.
Okay.
So holders of SBUIDL tokens can use these tokens to mint deUSD, a synthetic dollar that's pegged to the US dollar. And this gives them access to a whole world of DeFi applications and services.
So they're using their tokenized treasury bonds to create digital dollars they can then use in DeFi. That's pretty cool. Does this mean, though, that their original investment is at risk?
Well, that's the beauty of this dual-track system. It's designed to isolate risk.
Okay.
The underlying assets, like the treasury bonds, they're kept separate from any volatility in the DeFi space.
Right.
This means institutions can benefit from DeFi's potential returns while keeping their traditional investments safe and sound.
That makes a lot of sense. This deUSD you mentioned, it sounds like a pretty big deal. Can you tell me more about it?
Absolutely. deUSD, it's a yield-bearing synthetic dollar.
Okay.
What makes it interesting is that you can earn interest on your digital dollars while they're being used in DeFi protocols.
So it's like a stable version of your digital dollars that can earn interest while you use it in DeFi. That's something you don't see every day. What makes deUSD different from other stablecoins out there?
So there are three main things that set deUSD apart: decentralization, innovative risk management, and seamless integration with different DeFi platforms and blockchains.
Okay.
It's backed by a decentralized network of over 13,000 validator nodes, and it has this dynamic system for maintaining its peg to the US dollar even when markets are volatile.
So you're telling me I could use deUSD across various blockchain networks?
That's the idea. It's designed for versatility.
Okay.
It's also deeply integrated with the Curve DeFi protocol, a popular platform for exchanging stablecoins. This means people can earn extra rewards by providing liquidity to deUSD pools on Curve.
This is fascinating. Now, I know there's another platform, Athena, that's also working with BlackRock in the DeFi space. They seem to have a different approach, though, right?
Yeah, you're right. While both platforms are working with BlackRock's BUIDL fund, their focus is different. Athena is focused on stablecoins, specifically their USDTB stablecoin.
Right.
Elixir, on the other hand, is aiming to build a complete open ecosystem for integrating real-world assets with DeFi.
So Athena is like building a bridge to a specific island, while Elixir is building a bridge to an entire continent.
That's a great way to put it. Elixir isn't just creating a stablecoin, they're trying to build the infrastructure to connect traditional finance with the entire DeFi world. It's pretty groundbreaking stuff.
It certainly sounds that way. So we've talked about how the system works, but I'm curious, what does all of this actually mean for our listener? Why should they care about BlackRock getting involved in DeFi?
Well, this goes beyond just crypto becoming more mainstream. It signifies that traditional finance is recognizing the potential of DeFi's innovation and efficiency. Think about the advantages. deUSD offers decentralization security, the potential for yield. These are things that traditional finance struggles to match.
I see what you mean. It's almost like DeFi is giving us a peek into the future of finance, one that's more transparent, accessible, and potentially more rewarding. But is BlackRock really a trendsetter in the traditional finance world?
Absolutely. They're not just a big player. They're the company other institutions watch closely. So this move could very well trigger a wave of institutional money flowing into the DeFi space.
That's a fascinating thought. What kind of impact could that have?
Well, for starters, it could bring a surge of liquidity into DeFi, leading to even more innovation and opportunities for people to have greater control over their finances. We might see entirely new financial products and services emerge that we can't even fathom yet.
Do you have any examples of what those might look like?
Imagine a world where real estate is tokenized, making investing in property much simpler and more accessible, or picture supply chains managed on the blockchain, boosting transparency and efficiency.
Those are some pretty exciting possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you wonder if one day our everyday investments might be a part of this system.
It's not out of the question as more traditional assets get tokenized and brought onto the blockchain, the lines between traditional finance and DeFi will blur. We could see a future where things like retirement accounts, savings, even mortgages are managed within a decentralized system.
Well, I'm sold. That's a future I want to be a part of.
Yeah.
But, with any new technology, there are always risks.
Mm-hmm.
DeFi is still relatively young.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges you see?
You're right. It's important to be aware of the potential downsides. Security is a big one, as we've seen with the Elixir integration. Having robust systems in place to protect assets from hacks is critical. Another big question mark is regulation. Governments are still trying to figure out how to approach DeFi, and that uncertainty can be a bit daunting.
Regulation is definitely something to keep an eye on, but even with these risks, it's hard not to be excited about the potential of DeFi to transform the financial landscape.
I agree this BlackRock move is a significant step, and it's just the beginning. We're witnessing a paradigm shift in finance, and how it all plays out is anyone's guess.
So we've talked about how BlackRock is bridging into crypto, how Elixir's technology works, and how deUSD is shaking things up. Let's zoom out for a moment. What are the bigger implications here? What are the long-term effects?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? We focused on the mechanics, but the real intrigue lies in the long-term impact. Will this lead to greater financial inclusion, giving more people around the world access to financial services?
That would certainly be a positive outcome.
It would indeed. And what about the potential for more efficient markets? DeFi's transparency and automation could streamline processes, reduce costs, and level the playing field.
And of course, we can't forget about the potential for even more innovation in financial products and services. It seems like DeFi is a breeding ground for creativity, and this influx of institutional capital could really fuel that fire.
You're spot on, but we also need to consider some potential downsides. Could increased institutional involvement lead to more centralization within DeFi that could undermine the very principles it's built on?
That's a valid point. And what about the regulatory landscape? Will governments embrace this innovation or try to stifle it?
Those are some of the key questions we'll need to grapple with as DeFi continues to evolve.
It seems like there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding the future of DeFi, but isn't there also a sense of excitement? It feels like we're at a pivotal moment in the evolution of finance.
It certainly is a complex and evolving landscape, and that's what makes it so captivating. We're at the forefront of a potential financial revolution, and the outcome is far from certain.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so thrilling.
Yeah.
We're not just watching from the sidelines. We have a chance to shape this future.
Right.
Our choices, our investments, our voices, they all play a role.
I completely agree. This is a call to action for our listeners. Don't just sit back, get involved, learn about DeFi, explore different protocols, maybe even experiment with deUSD. The more we understand this technology, the better equipped we'll be to navigate its potential and manage the risks.
That's a great point. This deep dive has been quite a journey. We've covered so much ground, from BlackRock's surprising move into DeFi to the intricacies of Elixir's technology and the potential impact of deUSD.
Now, we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to uncover, so many questions unanswered, and a whole universe of possibilities waiting to be explored.
It really highlights the dynamic nature of DeFi. It's constantly evolving, and this is just the beginning. So to our listeners, we'll leave you with this final thought. We've delved into the how and the what, but now it's your turn to ponder the why. Why does this matter to you? What role do you envision for yourself in shaping the future of finance?
Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep asking those tough questions. The answers are out there waiting to be discovered.